Hello. As you all probably know, I've been trying to post about the COVID mortgage forbearance plans and how people are kind of transitioning out of these plans. And so the purpose of this video is just to go through kind of more in detail the Fannie Mae's deferral option. If you are somebody who has a Fannie Mae loan, meaning your investor on your loan is Fannie Mae, this would be one of the options. Before I get into exactly the Fannie Mae requirements as they're listed right now, I just want to quickly recap. If you are somebody who is in one of these COVID mortgage forbearance plans, at the end of your forbearance period, right now there are about 4 main options that you can do to kind of transition out of that plan and kind of move forward without, being defaulted and going into foreclosure. So the first of the 4 is a reinstatement. That's very straightforward. Basically means the amount of payments that you missed for the time that you were on your forbearance plans gets repaid in full. If for whatever reason you're able to do that, you have the finances to do that, and you reach the end of one of your forbearance plans, that's probably going to be a good option for you. So number 1 is reinstatement. Number 2 is a repayment plan. There is another video on this page that goes into detail kind of between the difference between a modification and a repayment plan. But just real quick and generally, a repayment plan would mean that you resume making your regular mortgage payments, but you pay a little bit extra every month until you're brought current again for the payments that you missed. You want to make sure if you get on one of these that it's in writing, you know what your payments are going to be. The bank has told you, here's how long this repayment period is going to go. You don't get to determine that. So it's not like you just start sending in your payments with a little bit extra. You actually have to speak with your bank and come to an agreement and get put on a formal repayment plan. Repayment plan is option number 2. Option number 3 would be a loan modification. There's a ton of other information on this page about what a loan modification is, and you want to talk with your servicer about those options and your investor to kind of start that process. It is a negotiation process. You will have to submit a package to get put on a loan modification, but just generally, again, a loan modification is a way for them to take the payments that you missed, kind of attach them to the end of the loan, and you just resume making payments. There is another option. Option 4 is what they're calling deferment or a partial claim. A partial claim is the name for this process if you have an FHA loan. If you are somebody with an FHA loan and you want more information about a partial claim, there's another video here about the standalone partial claim. But the purpose of this video is to go through the Fannie Mae deferral process. So for these COVID mortgage forbearances, Fannie Mae is allowed to defer up to 12 months of missed payments and basically put it on the end of the loan or attach it to the maturity date of your loan. And so what that means is if you, let's say you were on a COVID forbearance for 3 months or for 6 months, that would be under the 12-month period. And one option, if you have Fannie Mae, would be to ask for a deferral. And what that means is you would essentially just resume making your regular mortgage payments. You would not pay the amount of payments that you missed immediately, but the missed amounts of payments would be attached and become due at the maturity date of your loan, meaning they would defer the amount that you missed till the end of the loan. It's similar to a partial claim. Again, they're similar options. They're just kind of called different things depending on who your investor is. For Fannie Mae to approve you for a deferral, 2 things have to be the case at this point based on their guidelines. Number 1, you have to have resolved your COVID issue. Meaning whatever caused the initial hardship. So if you were out of work, if you had to close your business for a certain amount of time, whatever caused your initial hardship related to COVID has to be over. So if your business is still closed, if you are still only working partial hours or not back to work full time, a deferment might not be an option for you because Fannie Mae might be able to deny you from this option because they will say that your COVID hardship is not resolved. So if you have questions about, kind of what that means or how to prove that it is resolved or whether your hardship is resolved, you might want to speak directly with your bank, just kind of generally about those options before you apply for a deferment. But basically, the COVID hardship has to be over. Your income has to, be fully back to normal in the household. You have to be able to resume making those mortgage payments. So COVID hardship resolved. The second requirement is you have to have been current on your mortgage or less than 2 months behind in March of 2020. Meaning if you were far behind when COVID hit, even if COVID made things worse for you, which a lot of people have that situation going on, but you have to have been very close to being current or current on your mortgage. Meaning if you were super far behind when COVID hit, more than 2 months behind, Fannie Mae might not be able to consider you for a deferral. As of right now, Fannie Mae is saying that there is no response package required. What that means is you should be able to ask for and receive a deferment if you meet the requirements of having your COVID hardship resolved and having been current or less than 2 months behind in March of 2020. They're saying you should not have to fill out an application. Again, this just came out, so how this actually gets applied by the different lenders is still kind of unknown. Some lenders might require that you put something in writing. We don't really know how they're going to actually do this, but the guideline does say that there shouldn't be a big application process involved. So if you meet those requirements and you have Fannie Mae as your investor, you might want to start having a conversation with your lender about whether a Fannie Mae deferral of your payments that you missed during your forbearance period is a good option for you. Thanks.